Mission accomplished. Well done, man. Pack it up. We're going home.
I just found out that the most prominent hormone when you're on your period is testosterone. So when you're acting emotional on your period, you're literally acting like a man.
Wrong. Here's a little biology lesson for you. The most emotional time is when she's PMSing, which is usually 1 to 2 weeks before her menstrual period, which is exactly when estrogen levels peak in the days leading up to ovulation, which is the PMS period. You don't even know your own body and still try to use it to weaponize it against men somehow. Why don't you go call your father?
Wow. Who says she was raised by a father? The stats don't. Guys, when dudes have to make reels to correct modern women about biology lessons regarding their own bodies, we're way off the deep end. Western women who have never had to struggle with anything in their lives paradoxically create problems out of thin air, because if they don't have anything to complain about, there's nothing left but comfort and the weight of the realization that men are the only ones that provide them with the privilege. I've said this in recent videos, but women are not apparently so pissed off about an election that they were allowed to vote in that they're trying to bring over movements from other countries with completely different structures, situations, and etiquette. They've been so brainwashed by the media that they're vowing off, not just dating, like they really could to begin with, but to totally removing friends and family from their lives.
I just texted my best friend of 14 years, literally half of my life. I'm 28, and I asked them who they voted for. They said Donald Trump, and they said, I'm assuming you voted the opposite, and I said yes. And then my friend texted me and said, will you still be my friend? Half of my life, this person is my best friend.
I'm sure she'll be better off without you. I don't know this person very well, but given the total lapse in cognition here, I'd say that's a fair assumption. If it's not shaving their heads and going into a fit of rage,
honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
then they're trying to be some kind of modern woman, suffragette hybrid from The Handmaid's Tale, with 5'1", 300-pounders taking a break from the family-sized bag of chips to tell men who didn't even know they existed that they're taking a supposed break from the dating game to punish, again, men who never knew them in the first place. To clear the air a bit on where this movement originated and why men continue to have nothing to worry or care about. Take a look at this garbage called No SEX, No Marriage, No Dating, No Kids. Why South Korea's 4B movement is taking off in US after Trump's win. After Republican Donald Trump's victory in the U.S. presidential elections, some American women say they are turning to a movement that advocates no sex, no dating, no marriage, and no children. They are inspired by South Korea's 4B movement.
They'll buy anything.
The 4B movement has seen a surge online after Donald Trump's victory in the U.S. presidential elections 2024. Trump's victory, fueled by male voters and to many, looked like a referendum on reproductive rights. Some young American women are talking about boycotting men. It has become one of the top trends on TikTok and online search engines. The 4B movement calls for boycotting men by women.
Who are you again?
The idea comes from South Korean movement known as 4B, a vow to swear off men. Many American women are swearing they'll join the 4B movement in light of Trump's victory in the U.S. elections. The 4 no's, by means not in Korean. It calls for the refusal of dating men, bayane, sexual relationships with men, bisexu, heterosexual marriage, Baihan, and childbirth, Bai Chulsan. All right, a lot to unpack already. The obvious one at the start here, ladies, is that withholding any of these things really doesn't change the landscape at all. Men already walked away, which is why you're already frantically trying to redefine 4B in the US as a movement supporting female empowerment, which again is pretty redundant, wouldn't you say? The next thing I keep seeing in these stories has to do with how, quote, viral these videos have become over the last week. Sweetheart, they're viral because people have morbid curiosity. They're viral because we all can't help but look at the circus when it rolls into town. You're a laugh for us after a long workday.
I don't know about you, but my biggest flex as a mom is that I will never have to look my daughters in the face and tell them I chose cheaper gas prices over their rights.
More soldiers, more crying, more cameras.
It's all right. It's all right. I feel that way too. It's just me.
You see this? This is funny. Funny cringe, but it's still funny. Also, if anyone hasn't looked into this movement in South Korea, no worries, I did it so you don't have to waste your valuable time. First things first, it's not really working. It's not the cause of declining birth rates, not because of relationship struggles, and it really isn't cause for any kind of alarm because it's a fringe movement that is so small. Finding stats for it is like looking for a needle in a haystack, unless a feminist decides to make some up. In a recent story, these cartoon characters try to make the claim that Korean women are forced into marriage, that the 4B thing is a reaction to men supposedly capturing people and placing them in front of the altar. This hasn't really been a trend at any point in history, and guess what? It isn't now. The only thing I found is that Korean women are reportedly pressured to be in a monogamous marriage for the honor and respect of their families, which I think we can all agree is a cultural standard any group of people needs to, survive. But the progressives give it the old liberal arts college try anyway, saying, interest in the 4B movement has surged in the days since the election, with Google searches spiking and the hashtag taking off on social media. Scores of young women are exploring and promoting the idea in posts on platforms like TikTok and X. Disappointed by the 2024 US election results, dozens of women posted videos stating their intention to participate in their own version of the 4B trend. There were over 500,000 search inquiries for 4B movement on Google over the span of 48 hours this week, seeing an escalating response with women joining it online.
Yet where is the evidence?
Throughout his election campaign, Donald Trump celebrated the Supreme Court's 2022 decision to overturn the historic judgment Roe v. Wade, a ruling that ended a nationwide right to, It was also reproductive rights that propelled many women into the polls on Election Day as Missouri became the first state to undo a restrictive ban.
They have the strongest sovereignty.
However, when Trump won the election, some Americans felt reaffirmed in their belief that most of the United States would rather anyone else as president than a woman. Perhaps that's why interest in South Korea's 4B movement, a movement against patriarchy, has spiked in the U.S. just hours after Trump's win.
Sounds like you have mental problems, man.
The interest in South Korea's 4B movement gained attraction in the aftermath of an election in which gender played a major role. Some thought that questions about the future of women's reproductive rights would turn voters out for Vice President Kamala Harris and deliver Trump a crushing defeat. But the opposite happened, and women ended up gravitating towards him. Harris won women by 8 percentage points, while President Joe Biden won that cohort by 15 percentage points in 2020, according to NBC new exit polling.
So you were wrong.
The 4B movement, started in South Korea in 2018 in the wake of the hashtag #MeToo movement, has become a way for some women to protest misogyny, gender discrimination, and violence against women. According to Mira Choi, a PhD candidate in the Department of Sociology at Yale University who studies heterosexual refusal among South Korean women, reports NBC. I already talked about the RVW thing in another video. It's a dumb argument that even judicial feminists agreed was a bad decision. Blah blah blah, moving on. The thing is, the current VP's take on these, quote, rights wasn't even part of the campaign until like 3 weeks before the election took place. Like every modern woman before her, she was saying everything and anything to stop the momentum of her opponent. She didn't even care about these policies, and most feminists don't either. After all, they all live in states that allow this to happen. And that's what makes this so twisted. It's really no different than kidnapping someone and putting them in a room with a hamster feeder, explaining to them, hey, don't worry, you're safe now. There's nothing to be afraid of because I'm in total control. Control is the operative word in this silly example, because that's all they wanted this entire time, and everyone on the planet knows this.
Hypothetical. You're married and your best female friend wants you to go on a girls trip. You going?
Why would I not go?
Next.
I would go.
Okay, next.
Go.
You going?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
This hypothetical is to let y'all know, the ones that said yes, why you not married?
Exactly.
Submit to what exactly? Y'all don't plan dates. You have no communication skills. There is no conflict resolution skills. You're emotionally inept, emotionally unintelligent. You don't know how to start a conversation, aside from saying WYD, and that'd be annoying the fuck out of me. Y'all can't even spell it out fully. Y'all be worried about women using you as ATMs, especially when we typically have our own bag and y'all don't. Y'all be asking for that y'all don't even come with. Y'all be screaming, oh, the women want to treat us like ATMs. Knowing full well you don't have any money to begin with.
Could you imagine having to come home from a hard day's of work and listen to that for the rest of your life? I mean, your cortisol levels would be through the roof.
I can imagine it. All of us can, which is why when they say we're backing out of the dating game, literally every man is completely open to encouraging it. In fact, most people are practically begging that they pack their bags and leave the country. That way, the system would be cleansed and we could rebuild from there. And this is really what it boils down to. This movement isn't a movement. It's the Coke Zero of feminism. That is, if Coke was a drink made out of piss and vinegar. All you've done, ladies, is effectively throw the latest tantrum in a long line of fits that this channel has shown every day for years. You got nothing, but you keep writing like this is the first time you've ever complained about sitting on your ass and leeching off of men who make the world a better place. The 4B movement is a powerful example of women pushing back against the roles society expects them to fill, psychologist and dating expert Leah Levy told Newsweek. According to a report, there was widespread protest and outrage. Women started thinking about how the government and the state and the men are failing them, Choi told NBC, and they subsequently began not rewarding men by not participating in heterosexual relationships.
Thanks for Diet Pepsi.
Members of the 4B movement view marriage as an existential threat to women, and their concerns are well-founded, according to The Independent. Much like in the US, South Korean women are also subjected to a gender pay gap. While American women typically earn 82 cents for every dollar earned by men, South Korean women earn 31% less than men, the highest gender pay gap in democratic countries. The 4B movement has been gaining more interest and popularity on an international stage in recent years, particularly as young women across the world have learned about it on social media, according to Choi. American women, looks like it's time to get influenced by Korea's 4B movement, one woman wrote on X/Twitter. Trump's victory has lit a flame for a lot of women, Abby told the Newsweek, a 27-year-old from Florida with the TikTok handle @RabbitsandTea. In a video with 1.7 million likes and 9.3 million views, she shared her story of breaking up with her Republican boyfriend and officially joining the 4B movement.
It's free!
Ladies, we need to start considering the 4B movement like the women in South Korea and give America a severely sharp birth rate decline. No marriage, no childbirth, no dating men, no bumping with men. We can't let these men have the last laugh. We need to bite back. Ex-user Lali Sasora wrote on Wednesday in a tweet that has now garnered over 469,000 likes, 75,000 retweets, and 19.9 million views.
We will cease to exist.
Many responded to her tweet. One said, if South Korean women can successfully do this, it is not impossible. Another tweeted, it's a bold move, but women reclaiming control could send a powerful message. A third person tweeted, I'm a man and I completely agree with this. And the tantrum continues. Honestly, if the feminists had nuclear football, we'd all be one argument away from Armageddon. Guys, this is just packed with the same old buzzwords we've heard before. Autonomy, pay gap, money. Autonomy, pay gap, money, over and over and over again. What makes this hilarious is that they think they're doing something here. Ladies, we've seen this for the last 30 years every day. Adding emphasis, or walking away from us, doesn't do anything because you belong to the same class that vowed off traditional years decades ago. But feel free to freak out. It won't change anything. It's a free country.
I'm marrying for love, for true love. Don't do that. Don't marry for love. Marry for money. Okay, a Met Gala ticket is $75,000. True love can't buy you a Met Gala ticket. Marry for money.
Perfect memory. Sometimes we had our ups and downs. But we're all together. You're mine for a night. And I'm going to break precedent and tell you my one candle wish. That you would have a life as lucky as mine. Where you can wake up one morning and say, I don't want anything more. "65 years. Don't they go by in a blink?"
Men, as of late, we've been living life well. We've been living life with the masculine ethics that would make our forefathers proud and allow us to sleep well at the end of the day. And, as predicted, it's paying off. Hopefully, these people find a nice island. A man can dream. And if you made it to the end of this video, I want to say I appreciate you, so don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment to have a chance to win, and hit that sub button for daily videos. And if you could take a quick sec to subscribe to the second channel, Man Guide Reacts, link is down below in the description, so we can be sure that our message will keep on reaching the new men out there. I appreciate all the support, and I wish you all tremendous success.